Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. If I could request the resetting of the clock, because it's on 4 minutes at the moment. I presume from the one before. Fantastic. Okay, so my name's Akala. I'm from the Hip Hop Shakespeare Company. And before we get into the philosophy of our work, what that means, what the intention is behind it, I'm going to challenge you guys to a little bit of a pop quiz. And we've done this pop quiz quite a few times. We'll talk about it after we do it. I'm going to simply tell you some quotes. One-line quotes taken either from some of my favorite hip-hop songs or some of my favorite Shakespearean plays or sonnets. And you're going to tell me, by show of hands, whether you think it's hip-hop or Shakespeare. Does that make sense? Okay. So the first one we'll go for is, to destroy the beauty from which one came. To destroy the beauty from which one came. If you think that's hip-hop, raise your hands, please. If you think that's Shakespeare, raise your hands, please. Brilliant, brilliant. Okay, about 70% towards Shakespeare. It's from a gentleman known as Sean Carter, better known as Jay-Z, from a track called Can I Live? We'll go for another one. Maybe it's hatred I spew, maybe it's food for the spirit. Maybe it's hatred I spew, maybe it's food for the spirit. Hip-hop? Shakespeare. Getting overwhelmingly towards the Shakespeare. Interesting. Anyone heard of a gentleman known as Eminem? He is not Shakespeare. That's from a track Eminem did with Jay-Z, actually, called Renegade. We'll go for a couple more. Men would rather use their broken weapons than their bare hands. Men would rather use their broken weapons than their bare hands. Hip-hop? Shakespeare. Pretty even spread with a Shakespearean lean. That one is from Shakespeare. It's from a play known as Othello. We go for, I was not born under a rhyming planet. I was not born under a rhyming planet. Hip-hop? Shakespeare. That one is Shakespeare. So much ado about nothing. We'll go for two more. We'll go for, the most benevolent king communicates through your dreams. The most benevolent king communicates through your dreams. Hip-hop? Shakespeare. About 50-50 there. Gentleman known as the RZA, who's the head of the Wu-Tang Clan. We're going to be revisiting the Wu-Tang later. We'll be talking about them a lot as one of the main exponents of hip-hop philosophy, someone or a collective that were a huge influence on me. But we'll revisit that. Last quote of the day. Let's go for, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't define. Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't define. Hip-hop? Shakespeare. Overwhelmingly towards hip-hop on that one. That is hip-hop. That's Wu-Tang again. That's from a gentleman known as Inspector Deck. Interestingly, that quote comes from a single, a track known as Triumph, from the album Wu-Tang Forever. Wu-Tang Forever was the first hip-hop album to go #1 in this country. So that was what made hip-hop crossover, was this kind of lyricism. But we're going to revisit that a little later and revisit the Wu-Tang, as I said. So, as you can see, it wasn't as clear-cut as many of us may have thought. The language used, the subject spoken about, various things make it very, very difficult once the context is taken away, once our perception is taken away, and we have to look at just the raw language of the two art forms. And don't worry, we've done that exercise over 400 times, and as yet no one has got them all right. Not even some of the most senior professors at some of the most respected Shakespearean institutions in the country. I shan't name names. But needless to say, it's challenged a lot of people's perceptions, and we extend from there. We look at some of the other parallels between hip-hop and Shakespeare, some of the other things that they share. One of the main things that is shared between the two is, of course, rhythm. The iambic pentameter, di-dum, 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 di-dum. 5 sets, 2 beats is actually a wonderful rhythm to use in hip-hop music and translates in a way that even artists writing today find difficult. What do I mean by that? So it's very difficult to take, even as an MC who's a professional MC, a lyric you've written over a grime beat. Grime is 140 BPM, very, very fast tempo. And then take that same lyric and put it on what we consider to be a traditional hip-hop beat, 70, 80 BPMs. It's a very, very difficult skill, even writing now with the music to hand. Yet the iambic pentameter allows us to do just that. But I'll show you what I mean rather than tell you. So listen up. Cue music, please. What you're about to hear, some of you may know of it, some of you may not. It's Shakespeare's most famous poem, Sonnet 18. I haven't doctored it to make it fit to the rhythm, but just listen close. Okay, yo. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease have all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dim. And every fair from fair sometimes declines, by chance or nature changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of the fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in a shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. As men can breathe and eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee. Now,
this little poem, shall I compare thee to a summer's day? And he talks about eternity in the poem. And as long as men can breathe and eyes can see, this lives forever. That this froze little hamlet in time in his mind to be an immortal in Shakespeare's lifetime. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do break the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed. And every fair from fair sometime declines by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest. Nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life to thee.
Freaked out about iambic pentameter. Oh, I don't really understand it. It's so confusing. What's iambic pentameter? Dee-dum, 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 dee-dum. Shakespeare's telling you or sharing or reflecting the heartbeat of his characters and asking your heart to sync up with theirs. That's all that iambic pentameter is.
Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? Thou art more lovely and more temperate. Rough winds do shake the darling buds of May, and summer's lease hath all too short a date. Sometimes too hot the eye of heaven shines, and often is his gold complexion dimmed, and every fair from fair sometimes declines by chance, or nature's changing course untrimmed. But thy eternal summer shall not fade, nor lose possession of that fair thou owest, nor shall death brag thou wanderest in his shade, when in eternal lines to time thou growest. So long as men can breathe, or eyes can see, so long lives this, and this gives life